The court calls the case of K. Denning versus Zeta Lambda Nu Fraternity. K. Denning brings this premises liability action against Zeta Lambda Nu Fraternity after she was paralyzed at a fraternity event on its premises. Plaintiff K. Denning asserts that Zeta Lambda Nu Fraternity is liable as the property owner for the dangerous conditions it created on the property. Defendant Zeta Lambda Nu Fraternity asserts that the dangerous condition was open and obvious, and K. Denning bears the responsibility for her injuries, as she was too intoxicated to appreciate the open and obvious dangerous condition. We'll now hear from our two witnesses.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Yeah, sure. Good morning. My name is Chris Bloom.
How old are you?
Do I really have to admit that on the stand?
I'm afraid so, Miss Bloom.
Okay, I'm 23.
And you're a student, right?
Yes, sir. I'm a junior at Tall Tree College.
Do you know a K. Denning?
Yes, I do know Kay Denning. She's my best friend. I mean, we grew up together. And yeah, I've known her like my whole life.
Just out of curiosity, you did not end up going to the University of Lone Star, is that right?
That's correct. And honestly, I think I was totally shafted. I mean, I didn't get accepted. I thought my application was really good. So it really must have been my shoplifting conviction that I had several years ago. But University of Lone Star is really not that far away. I mean, I could visit Kay whenever I wanted to. It was just a few hours drive away.
You mentioned shoplifting. When were you convicted of shoplifting?
Well, I mean, it was right around the time I turned 18, about the time that I applied to go to college. But I got probation. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
And what did you shoplift?
I didn't steal anything.
What were you convicted of stealing?
They said I stole some jewelry.
Okay. Were you in Armadillo on May 24th, 2014?
Yes, I was.
And what did you and Kay do that night?
So, I mean, based on how the drive turned out, I got there like around 4 o'clock, I think. And there's this really great Mexican restaurant that's right on campus. So we had dinner together. And then after dinner was over, we kind of just started walking around looking for a place we could hang out the rest of the night.
Did you go to Zeta Lambda Nu?
Yeah, we kind of stopped by there.
And when you stopped by there, what did you see?
Well, it looked like the fraternity was kind of gearing up for a big event of some kind that night. It looked kind of like a beach party theme. They had put a lot of work into creating like a pool with tarps and sandbags, and they filled it with water, and then some of the sand was like strewn around it so it looked like a beach. There was a tiki bar kind of up by the house, and yeah, there were some guys that were like already on floaties with drinks in their hand, kind of floating in the pool. About the time we got there, this lifeguard stand had been set up, like one of those ladder chair looking things. It was kind of in the middle of the water, but close enough that you could still get to it. And there was this really annoying guy like sitting on top of it. I know now, like, that was Andrew, but like, he had his shirt off and a megaphone and a beer in his hand, and he was just yelling at everybody, telling them what to do and all that stuff.
And when you talk about Andrew, is that Andrew Dornberg?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did Andrew say to you and Kay?
Well, about the time we walked up, I mean, he picked up his megaphone, turned to us and was like, hey, you in the pink shirt, I want you to come to my party, or you want to come to my party, or something like that. I mean, he was talking to Kay. Okay,
and after this invitation, what happened next?
Well, he came over to talk to us.
Okay. You said that he was in the lifeguard chair. Did he walk over? How did he get over to you?
Yeah, obviously, I had to get down from the lifeguard chair. He kind of like slipped around, spilled his beer everywhere. It was kind of gross. I mean, Kay really wanted to talk to him, so I mean, he kind of waded through the water, and then we met him at the side of the water.
How deep was the water there?
I don't really know, but I mean, maybe like 2 feet. Clearly, I mean, those guys probably couldn't put together a pretty deep pool in a few days.
Once Andrew got over to you and Kay, what all did he say to y'all?
Well, I mean, it was a lot of chit chat. He was really flirty with Kay, kind of hitting on her a little bit. I mean, I thought he was a real jerk. I mean, he kept talking over me, totally ignored me, didn't really care if I was there or not. But they kept talking about the party. He wanted to invite Kay. So eventually he asked Kay for her number. And so she asked for his phone and took his phone, put her number in it, and then she handed it to me. So I went ahead and I put my number in his phone as well, and then we handed it back to him.
And did y'all leave after that?
Yeah, we left out.
Okay. After you leave Zeta Nu, where do y'all go? What do you do?
So Kay, at the time, was a member in Xi Pi, the sorority on campus. And while she was in the process of kind of like moving out of the house, a lot of her stuff was still over there. A lot of her friends, her sorority sisters were there. So we kind of went over there just to hang out for a little bit.
Were those sisters that you described, did they have any plans for the evening?
Yeah, I think they were planning on going to the Zeta Nu party too.
And do you know how they heard about the party?
Well, they got an invitation.
Okay. Do you know, how do you know that they got an invitation?
Well, everybody was invited. I mean, Kay was invited, and everybody kind of in that area was invited too.
Okay. Did y'all end up going to the party?
We did. I'm trying to think. Kay and I were 20 at the time, so we tried to get in, but when we got there was a sign that said you had to be 21 to enter.
And were there people checking to see if people were 21 before they could come in? Was there some kind of a bouncer?
Yes, there was somebody at the door like checking everybody's ideas. I think Kay knew her actually.
Knew the person
Yeah,
checking?
yeah. It may not have been a she. I mean, honestly, it's really hard to remember.
Okay. What happened when y'all tried to get into the party?
So there was a group of about like 6 or 7 of us, and we kind of hung back at the back of the group. I mean, they were checking everybody one by one. And so when it was finally our turn, Kay told them, hey, Andrew invited us, but we left our IDs at the house. You know, we really want to come in and hang out. We won't drink if that's the problem. We won't drink. But we really would like to come in and talk because we've gotten the personal invitation. Honestly, Kay got really mad while she was talking with the person checking the IDs because they just would not let us in. And she, got really heated because we kept saying, I mean, we've got an invitation, we should come in, and they would have none of it. And it's totally unfair because I know I saw people that were under 21 getting in.
Now, just to be clear, you don't know if anyone under 21 was actually allowed in.
Oh, they were totally under 21. I mean, I don't even know why we were excluded, honestly. I mean, there were so many people going in and out, and yeah, they were not 21.
All right. About what time was this when y'all were trying to get into the party?
Probably like 9:30, I would guess.
And what did you and Kay do after it was clear you were not going to be allowed in?
Kay was so mad. She kept saying how stupid it was that we weren't allowed in, especially because Andrew had invited her. But we did, I mean, Kay told me, it's college campus. Like, there's always stuff going on. We can totally just walk around and try and find a place to hang out.
And so where did you go?
Well, we kind of went around the neighborhood. We mostly ended up staying at this apartment that was just a couple of blocks away from the Zeta Nu house.
About what time did you get to the apartment?
Probably 10, if I had to guess.
And how long did you stay?
Until about 1 in the morning.
Was Kay drinking throughout the night?
Well, I mean, I wasn't with her the whole time, so I'm not even sure, but I don't think so. I don't think she had anything to drink.
You'd been drinking that night, correct?
Well, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 drinks. I'm not a big drinker. I don't like the way it makes me feel.
Okay. How many drinks did Kay have?
Over 3 hours? I really don't know. Like, I wasn't with her. And she kept getting on her phone and kind of texting. She seemed really distracted. I assumed she was talking to Andrew and she was still bent out of shape about missing the other party. And so, I mean, I can't really tell you if she was drinking or not. I would say no because I didn't ever see her with anything.
You didn't even see her take, say, 2 or 3 drinks?
Not that I remember.
Did you say anything to Kay while y'all were at the apartment?
Well, I mean, towards the end of the night, I told her we really should be getting home. I mean, it had gotten really late, and she just kept saying how much she wanted to go see Andrew. She wanted to go see Andrew. And eventually, like, she said, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and, you know, we'll leave after that. So I let her go. But then I don't know where she went. Like, I couldn't find her after that.
What happened after you couldn't find her?
Well, I started to get really worried. I mean, it was really late. I didn't know where she was going. I assumed she was going to go see Andrew at the party. So I texted Andrew, didn't get a response. So I texted again, still didn't get a response. And yeah, eventually it was like I just had to go over there.
What do you mean you couldn't get a response?
From Andrew, like I kept telling him I was super worried about Kay. I thought she was going to go see him, but he didn't let me know if he had seen her or anything.
Okay, so what did you do after Andrew was not responding to your text?
Well, I went to the Zeta new house. I left the apartment pretty quickly, and I admittedly, I got a little turned around in the neighborhood. I didn't know where I was, so it took me a while to get over there.
About what time do you think it was when you got there?
You know, I can't be sure, but I think it was close to 2, maybe.
Okay, once you get to the Zeta new house, what happens? What do you see?
Well, I mean, as soon as I get kind of to the edge of the yard, I see Kay trying to get up on top of that lifeguard chair. And I just take off running, trying to call her name, get her attention, anything I can do. She kept kind of slipping and stumbling as she was climbing up on it. It looked really unstable, like worse than when we saw it earlier in the day. So I don't know what was going on at that party, but it clearly was not something she should be climbing on like that. When she got to the top, like, you know, she stood up real tall, and I mean, she just like fell over, like, into the water head first.
When you see this, how do you react?
Honestly, it's really a blur. I mean, I know that water was not deep enough for her to jump like that into that. So, I mean, I sprint as fast as I can. I get to the edge of the water. Somebody is already in the water with her. Andrew had come out of the house, and so he was making his way there. And then I just froze. Like, to this day, I still feel so guilty about it that I just couldn't do anything. I just stood there.
And you mentioned Andrew. Where was he when you first got to the house?
Well, he was running out of the house, like carrying a pitcher of some kind of drink or something, and yelling at everybody. This guy really likes to yell.
What was he saying when you first got there?
Well, I mean, I can't be too sure, but it definitely was something in regards to Kay being on the chair, like, hey, baby, don't dive into the pool without me. Although it looks really fun, I'll top off your drink for you. I mean, I remember at the time he called her baby, and I hate that nickname. I mean, she's a grown woman. Call her Kay.
And so when he was referring to baby, you believe he was referring to Kay?
That's what I believe.
Okay. Did you hear Andrew say anything else?
Yeah, like, he kept kind of muttering and moaning, like, I didn't really think she would do it. And then on the side, he was just sitting there going like, oh no, not again, not again. I mean, I don't know what he was talking about. And then he just sat there and moaned.
Do you remember anything else that he said?
Honestly, no. Like the next thing I remember is hearing the sirens.
All right, thank you. No further questions. Sir, would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Andrew Dornberg.
Mr. Dornberg, how old are you?
I'm 22.
All right. Are you a college student?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where do you go to college?
I am a senior at the University of Lone Star.
And what's your major?
I'm majoring in hotel and restaurant management.
Do you work?
Yes, I am a certified part-time lifeguard at the Student Rec Center.
I see. Mr. Dornberg, I understand that you are in a fraternity.
Yes, I'm the president of Zeta Lambda Nu. Zeta Nu?
Speaking of Zeta Nu, let's talk about that. What happened at the Zeta Nu house on the night of May 24th, 2014?
We had the worst Zeta Nu teen beach movie party ever.
All right, teen beach movie party. What movie?
It's a mouthful. It's a party theme based on those movies that came out a couple of years ago. So it's kind of a combination of teen beach movies, beaches, parties. My dad in the 80s was president of Zeta Nu, and they used to have parties like that. They called them the Sea Org parties, and they were pretty legendary. So we were just trying to resurrect that.
Did your dad ever describe any of these parties to you?
Yeah, he told me they were legendary. They only had a few of them, though, before they got shut down by suppressive persons. So there was only a couple.
Did he ever show you how to build a pool?
Yes.
All right. Do you know why the parties stopped?
I heard that something happened, something stupid happened, and maybe somebody got hurt.
Okay, who told you that?
My dad.
All right. And when you say something stupid, what is it that you mean by that?
Well, he never told me. I didn't push him really on it.
Did he ever tell you, your dad ever tell you that someone had actually drowned in the pool?
He didn't tell me that, but I've heard that around.
Okay. Going back to the night of May 24th, can you describe the setup or the physical layout of the party to me?
Right. So in the front lawn in front of the house, we constructed a pool, and underneath it we laid out tarps. Then we brought in sandbags, and we poured out the sand and we created like a beach in front of the pool. Then the pledges built a tiki bar where we were serving rum drinks like Mai Tais, 3 Dots and a Dash, Zombies, Lost Lakes. We had jungle juice. It was just a broasis.
And I can tell you're excited about the drinks, Mr. Dornberg, but let's stay focused. Was there anything else there at the party?
Yeah, there was a plastic floating island in the middle of the pool. And I went over to the Student Rec Center and I got my lifeguard chair and I brought it back and we set it up on the sand and we put it adjacent to the pool because it was kind of rickety.
Okay. Did you secure the lifeguard stand in any other way?
Yeah, we secured it with some sandbags. There was also some kegs in the lawn, and there was a movie playing on the big screen that we'd set up.
Okay. Do you remember on that evening meeting a Kay Denning?
Yeah, she was with a friend. They were walking by the house. It was right after we had set up the tiki bar. And I remember there were some guys that were floating on the plastic rafts.
All right. About what time was that?
It was around 6 o'clock because the party wasn't scheduled to start till 8.
Okay. Were you drinking at this point?
I had a few. People were just starting to get ready.
Okay. What do you mean when you say get ready?
Well, we were listening to beach party music. We were watching old movies on the screen. We were trying out all the rum drinks. So people were just kind of looking for beach stuff to wear.
Okay. How many drinks had you had?
I don't remember. I wasn't counting. Not a lot. I was just testing out the rum drinks.
All right. You said you were on the lifeguard chair. Did you have a drink with you at that point?
Yes, and a megaphone.
Why did you have a megaphone?
I was telling the guys on the rafts what to do. I found it inside the house.
All right. Tell me how you met Kay.
She was walking by the house with one of her friends.
Okay. Do you know who that person was?
I didn't know either of them, but I found out later that their names were Kay and Chris, something like that. I think she was a Thetan.
Okay. So you see these two people. What happens after that?
I asked them to come to the party. I may have used the megaphone, like, hey, come to the party. And they came over, they walked around the side, and I got their phone numbers.
And how did you do all that sitting up in the lifeguard chair?
Well, I mean, obviously I climbed down from the lifeguard chair. It was kind of rickety, so I almost slipped. But I came down and I gave my phone to Kay, and she gave me her phone number. And then her friend Chris took the phone out of her hand and put her phone number in as well while I was talking to Kay.
All right. All right. What happened after that?
She left, and I went back and got in my lifeguard chair.
Okay. Did she end up coming to the party?
Yeah, she called me, or she texted me around 1:30, so it was really kind of late. The party was mostly over. I was already in my room, so I came down and met her in the front yard. There were still movies playing, and I remember she had a glass with her that said "Top me off," and there was something red in it.
Okay. At that time, did Miss Denning appear intoxicated or impaired in any way to you?
I mean, I don't know what you mean by impaired. She seemed kind of party happy. I mean, I wasn't really in a position to be judging because I'd been drinking too.
You'd been drinking too. Did you give her anything to drink?
Absolutely not. She may have filled her cup up with some beer from one of the kegs.
Okay. So she's there. She's in the backyard with y'all, with you. What happens after that?
Somebody came by and said, hey guys, we're shutting down the party. You guys have to leave. And she said, she chugged what was left in her glass and was like, no, I'm about to swim. And that's what happened next.
Okay. Did she mention anything about diving?
No, not that I remember. She just said she wanted to swim.
And what was your response to that? What did you say to her?
I told her that's a stupid idea. They said the party's shutting down, so we need to go. I know some older guys in West Campus that were having an after party, so I told her, let's go to that.
All right. So after you tell her all this, what happens?
I told her to wait here. I'm gonna go change my shirt. So I went back inside to change my shirt, and the next thing I remember is hearing screams. So I ran downstairs, and Kay was just kind of floating face first in the pool, and someone was already there trying to help her.
Okay. What did you do?
Well, I went into certified part-time lifeguard mode, and I pulled her out of the pool. I dragged her to the edge. I pulled her into the sand. Then I walked several feet away and called 911. She was knocked out, but she was still kind of breathing. She looked fine to me.
All right. Between the time where you got into the water and when you got Kay back out onto the sand, did you say anything?
I don't remember. Everything was kind of a blur between hearing the screams and calling 911 and the ambulance coming.
Mr. Dornberg, at any time prior to pulling Miss Denning out of the pool, were you ever aware that she was only 20 years old?
No, she looked older. I mean, she acted like she knew what she was doing.
What do you mean by she acted like she knew what she was doing?
I mean, she acted like she'd, been around. Like this wasn't her first pool party.
All right. No further questions.
Thank you, everyone. The jury is now instructed to deliberate to determine whether it believes Ms. Chris Bloom and finds that Zeta Lambda Nu fraternity is at fault, or whether it believes Mr. Andrew Dornberg and finds that Kay Denning is at fault. Thank you for your time and your service.
Now it's your turn to decide. Have fun in the deliberation room.